What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745, and in this video we're going to take a look at Victor Mancha in PvP. We have some very good team ups for him, but we're also keeping a few of our favorites for the next All Hail the King episode. So I'll let you know right now you don't want to miss that episode because we're going to use him with the Mighty Thor, Magneto, and Captain Marvel. However, in this video we're going to begin with a Beta Ray and Victor team up. Now I will admit, at first I didn't want to include this matchup, and that's because this is going to be quite a long battle. But at the same time I wanted to show that Victor and one of these team ups could handle a Null and Kurth team, even one that has very impressive stats. Also, since it's such a long fight, I'll go ahead and use some of the extra time to explain my setup in detail. So on my agent, I knew for a fact that I wanted to use the Solar Storm. That's because this is a buff action, and it's going to place magnetized on all the enemies. Since it is a buff, it can become a quick action if you're using the Quick and Powered ISO 8. In order to do that, I needed to use a Tactician costume. Originally, since I wanted to use two pieces of the new set, I went with the Tactician's Empowered costume, and I figured with momentary advantage we could get an extra hit in the second round with one of these items. Then besides that I used the Weather Control device. However, I found that you will have some problems with Null. That's when I settled on using the Tactician's Safeguard suit instead, and I brought in the cube. You will want either the Blackest Void or something to place off balance on him to stop his counters. Now like I said, using the Solar Storm and the Quick and Powered ISO 8 allows your agent to place magnetized on all the enemies as a quick action. And of course this helps out Victor Mancha. You don't have to go too far to find his level 1 has Electromagnet. Attacks against magnetized targets are guaranteed to critically hit. But rather than settle on that, we're going to use his AoE, and that way we place static charge on all the enemies. It also would magnetize them. It has downgrade so it prevents technology attacks. And because of the ionizing AISO, it places radiation exposure as well. All in all, it's a pretty strong AoE that has a lot of benefits, especially for a team like this. Then with Beta Ray Bill, we're going to keep the static charge going, as well as place ozone on the enemies. Or well, we would have if we didn't get affected by a Cower. That was unfortunate, but with my agent's turn, I'm going to use the Light Fantastic, then the Legion Disruption Blade on the enemy agent. This is a single target attack, but it places disadvantage and ozone on the enemy. Ozone says taking additional damage from electricity attacks and effects. Then with another Legionnaire set piece, it also gains static charge. Then with our second turn, we'll use it on Null. But there's Cower once again. Let me just say this fight would have been much quicker and easier if it weren't for Cower. But like I said at the beginning, it'll give us more time to talk about our setup, and we're going to carry some of this over to our other battles. So for those of you who are curious, the other Legion piece we're using is the Legion Particle Accelerator. This weapon causes Crackle, a chance to trigger an electric shock after performing a hostile action. It removes one stack of Crackle when triggered and can be applied 3 times. So you can see the synergy and the overall theme with this build. Then I also mentioned what the synthetic cube is for. However, I should have also said we ran into a lot of Mystic Shrouds. So that's where the Blackest Void and the Tactician's Safeguard suit really came in handy. It allows us to remove the Mystic Shroud, and that's going to be a quick action. So yeah, it was unfortunate that the Mystic was everywhere, but at least now we have a pretty good counter. Now at this point in the fight, we're actually one of our own worst enemies, and that's because of Love Me. Unfortunately, we have to attack the worthy, so we're going to get hit by our own agent. But at least we're still proccing static charge on Null, as well as Kurth. And luckily our agent misses with his Brawl. Next up, with him we're going to use the Improbability Field, and then the Solar Storm. That may not have been our best attack strategy, but that's what we end up using. After that, of course we're going to punch ourselves, and probably do huge damage. Okay, so there it is. We knock off quite a bit of health. At least Null was stunned, and then with Victor Mancha we're going to use his AoE Magnet Man once again. By the way, we do have the Reflexive and Powered ISO 8 on him, so he takes reduced damage from counter and follow-up attacks. This definitely comes in handy. But one other thing that I do want to say about this team, and any team in general, is the more you use them, the better you get with when to use certain abilities, and what abilities to use first and so on. It's kind of like you need time to learn the nuances. Even so, we are most certainly going to win this match. Then since it is against Null and Kurth, that shows me that this team, and Victor Mancha in general, does have some skill. But stick around to see the next two teams and decide which one you like better. Spoiler alert, they all do very well. And the weird thing is, these three teams would have actually been at the bottom of my list when you include the other teams that I mentioned would be in the next All Hail the King episode. That's pretty crazy to me when I saw what these guys are actually capable of. So here we are, first finishing off Null. We'll begin with an Atom Smasher, then we'll knock ourselves out. After that, the enemy is going to get one final turn. And with that, Beta Ray Bill's going to protect. Then Victor Mancha can use his level 1, and that ends it with a crit over 4,300. There it is, we managed to beat the big bad Worthy. Then in our second team up, we're going to use Victor Mancha and Karolina Dean, two of the runaways. We have a very good idea how this team works because of the Spec Ops. And we know that by using our level 2, Karolina Dean will gain a ton of Empyrean energy. By the end of this one attack, she's going to be very loaded up on Empyrean energy and almost ready to use her level 9. Then on top of that, our agent's going to get to go next, and he has a few items up his sleeve as well. First of all, we still have our Solar Storm, and it will be a quick action. Then for this battle only, we equip the Staff of Storms and the Thunderstrike. But before we go there, let's get our quick actions out of the way. We'll begin with the Blackest Void. Then we can use the Solar Storm, and we can try to use a single target attack to gain an extra turn. That's because luckily the enemy team has blasters. And who could blame them, because there were many Bruiser Safeguard agents, and Null and Kurth both as Bruisers as well. But of course the big downfall is when you end up facing a Tactician, it's really bad news. In this case, we're going to start with the Thunderstrike, and that's a single target attack. Then we're going to use the Staff of Storms, which is an AoE. All the while we're going to be dealing damage, causing static charge, and giving Karolina Empyrean energy. I'm going to tell you right now, you do not want to miss Karolina Dean's very first turn of this battle. It's going to be quite impressive. The anticipation was actually driving me crazy. Unfortunately, she won't have Shield Slam, so her Empyrean Flare could be even worse. Oh, and by the way, we do have a bursting AISO on there just in case we needed it. Since Invisible Woman's across from us, we do. It's a great idea to be prepared, even though I have been seeing less of her. And that's probably due to the fact that Kurth has Shieldbreaker built right in. To those still using her on defense, I don't know if they realize that, but that's why I don't worry about her when I'm running the Worthy. Well, that, and the fact that you can't even stop their most important debuffs. So what's the point? But anyways, here it is, the moment we were waiting for. And we obliterate the enemy agent, and nearly take down Null. Then after his AoE attack, we do counter, and he is very close to dead. I guess with Victor, we'll just finish him off and reuse our level 2. That of course will help Karolina get more energy. So yeah, I do tend to gravitate towards AoE attacks. There's just something about them. Why settle for hitting one when you can hit all three? Or two in this case. After that attack, only Sue remains. And aside from her annoying dodging, she won't be that difficult to beat. My agent will start the Light Fantastic, then he can get 2 single target attacks against her. We're going to use the Thunderstrike for both of these attacks. And she is going to dodge the first, but Chain Lightning will still proc. Then we'll try the Thunderstrike one more time, and once again we will get Chain Lightning. Slowly but surely we are going to get Invisible Woman. And you know what, as we finish this one annoying character, I'm going to go ahead and take this time to set up the final build. It's going to have something that you're going to be even more interested in, besides the team up. In that fight, I'm going to be using the full Legionnaire set. And this is somewhat of a preview because I do plan on making a full video on that sometime this week. So if you're wondering, is that set any good or can you use it in PvP? Well, we're going to get a sneak peek of that in the final battle. Then as long as nothing new gets released, I'm thinking that could be the very next video. So make sure you stay tuned and I'll have the full Legionnaire set review tomorrow, barring any new release. Alright, finally Invisible Woman's knocked out. So in this next one, we're using the Bruiser Safeguard suit, the full Legionnaire set, Victor Mancha, and Storm. Victor once again gets to begin, and we're going to use his level 2. That's his big setup move. Then because of the windy E-ISO, we begin with a Protective Shroud. Then believe it or not, this is a very good test because Null and Spiral can actually be a really good team. They really can give you quite a few problems. Now with Null's first turn he uses You're Not Worthy, then his Ragnarok'em Sock'em misses. And that was all thanks to Protective Shroud. On Storm's first turn, I debated what ability to use so long that I actually had to cut some of it out. It was between Blizzard and Tornado. And in this case, I decided to go with Tornado. This attack far exceeded my expectations. It really crippled the entire enemy team. Then just to add to our amazing start, we get a Legion Particle Accelerator counter. Then also take that Chain Lightning. Static charge all around. Next, with my agent, we can use the Legion Transponder because it doesn't have any cooldown. So what can this summon attack do first turn? Well, just watch. Here comes the Iron Man. This all but finishes the enemy team. So it did way better than I even imagined. The set as a whole, I mean. So next up, with Victor Mancha, we're going to take down Null. And only their agent will remain. Unfortunately, just like Nico, he's going to be back for more. That means this attack will not finish him. And then after he lives and restores his health, he's also going to use the Worm Zephyr. So by the end of this, he's going to be near full health. Especially when you add in the Signpost. My only relief is, after he uses the Staff of Return again, he won't be back for more. If you could just keep using that, it would be insane. Now on my agent's turn, I'll use the Pulse Rifle and put some radiation exposure on the agent. Then with Victor, we're going to use his level 9, which is actually a very strong ability in PvP. It has Incapacitation and causes Exhausted. After Zapper, Storm's going to use her Blizzard, and we'll go ahead and see what the enemy agent does with his final turn. I'm guessing not much, so get ready for a Legion Transponder finish once it gets back to my agent. That is 100% how I'd love to end this fight. So let's hope we do enough damage. And with this attack, that's going to be the end of this video. So I want to thank you all for watching and ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe. Then until next time, good luck and take care.